How you going? We got Gowie here.
Johnny, how are you, bud?
I'm fantastic.
Yeah.
I wasn't here last time. I was not a hungover.
You're a crook, were you?
Yeah, I was actually sick.
Crook means you're hungover. Yeah, that's right.
Was it a Monday? It was a Monday as well, so it's even worse.
Monday-itis for sure. No? He's gone for Bender.
No, I was actually sick. It was so upsetting that I missed it. But it was heaps good. I loved it last time. So happy to have you back, man.
Beautiful. Good to be
We
here.
got some lots of things happening. We were just talking about it off air. Fisher Harris gone today. That wasn't on our rundown because it happened today.
Yeah, no, it was certainly a surprise when I read that, and it's been an amazing player for Penrith. He certainly he's laid the platform for those young kids coming through for you know, how to be a professional athlete, you know, on and off the field, and you know the way he applies himself on the field with his aggression, and he's certainly taken Moses Leota to a new level, and you know he's leaving in the club in good stead. You know, for whatever reason, personal reasons, but you know, it's certainly that deal was done pretty quick, and you know, I understand he's a great player, but yeah, there's certainly. For me, there's a couple of question marks.
Yeah.
But
no, clubs would never negotiate with agents before they're allowed, right?
There's never a phone call before, and oh, mate, if this player can come off, would you take him? Oh, okay, yeah, no worries.
So, like, it's Penrith, though, so they lose everyone, and it doesn't matter, because when they were losing Kickow, it was going to be a big issue, and...
Yeah, but I was actually looking to see who that next young kid to come through. Obviously, you got Liam Henry there. There's a couple other boys that they've stepped up. You know, Osmuth is there as well. So there's going to certainly a gap when you lose a quality player. You know, international player. So
It's a Golden Boot winner last year, yeah?
Golden Boot, yep, he was. So, but what it does do, it frees up the cap now. So. Taruva, who was on the outer, now they can come up a little bit more to try and keep him at the. So it could be good on that end. So you've got to take the positives out of it, and I think that's one positive. So, but you know, there's not many front rowers on the market.
No, especially definitely not
and
that
top
quality.
liners like him. You know, obviously the Warriors lose Fanil Blake, and they get Fisher Harris. Well, wow. You know?
Yeah, they've already always got good forwards, and now they're taking forwards from other teams. But like, so where's Fanua Blake going?
Going to the Sharks.
Yeah,
Sharks,
that's right. Yeah,
yep.
so the Sharks gain a really good forward, Warriors gain a really good forward, and hopefully Penrith can upgrade themselves. Why don't any of them ever go to the Dragons?
So in the long term, Craig, do you think it'll be a major issue, Fisher Harris going, or you think they'll cover it nicely, or?
I think they'll cover it.
Yeah.
They always do. Though I don't think it was in the plan yet, as of yet, to replace him. So it's certainly thrown a spanner. You know, you're a young Mav guy. I know he's a back rower, but you know he's a big body and he's got good footwork. So why can't you just put him up front? You know, like there's options there where you can try and mould another young guy. And you know, I thought Mav played really well when he played against the Roosters. So he's had a taste. You know, try and put him under the wing of those two blokes for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
You know, you can build him into a front row. Like, you know, like it's, as I said, you know, he's got a great offload. You know, I know he plays on the edge, and when you're in the middle of it, it's a different story. But you know, I certainly think that he can step up.
It's happened before. There's been heaps of players that move between back row and front row. Like Paul Gallen was a lock, and then one of the best props that's been State of Origin.
Gal just wanted to hold the ball as much as he could, mate.
That was always
trying to play halfback as well. He was playing. I thought he was playing everything. Wasn't he?
Sometimes running, hitting it up as a winger.
Well, what have you made of the Panthers so far this season, Craig? 3 wins, 2 losses from 5 games. Sitting in 6th spot on the ladder. Cleary not named again this week. Still got that hamstring injury.
Yeah.
How do you sort of see things for the Panthers at the moment?
Oh, I think they're in a great position. Like, even though they lost against Melbourne down there, that wasn't their best performance. Then they come back out and had 3 great wins, especially one against the Roosters, because I actually thought that the Roosters would win that game.
Everybody tipped against them.
Like, well, Fisher Harris was out,
Cleary was
Nath
out.
was out. Even Lee Martin wasn't on the field for quite a big minutes, and I just thought that they just went to a different level defensively. The speed of their line was just out of this world fast, but continuously for 80 minutes. And I just thought you've seen every player go to that next level. And after that game, I just thought there is still no team in the competition that's going to get near him. And I say that with respect to the Broncos because I love the way that they play, but they've had injuries as well. So it's sort of bringing these teams sort of back a little bit. But when they get their complement of players, looking at the competition, there's probably 4 teams, I reckon, which is, Penrith, Melbourne, Brisbane and Manly.
Yeah, Manly was a bit of a weird one because they won a couple in a row, then dropped a couple, then...
Yeah, well, when you start to become a better team and you have better players in there, and I think Brooksy's done a great job going in there. He's fit in that role perfectly for him, and it's been an astute buy. But they've got a great pack. You keep Tommy fit.
Yeah.
They're going to have their ups and downs because they're just starting to, believe in themselves and start to become a better team. And when you do that, they'll go on runs and then they'll fall off a bit and then they'll go on runs again. It's just a sort of a mental thing that you sort of go through when you sort of haven't been at that stage for a while, especially if some players haven't been at that stage of playing NRL where you're consistently at a high level, or you're just going out there and you just know that you're going to win games. So
yeah, and because Manly's position is also a bit weird because they dropped that game against the Dragons and it was Tom Trbojević's worst game ever. Ever. Surely he's never going to have another performance like that again.
I don't think I've watched so much football after giving tips and stuff like that because it's so frustrating because you know that these teams are so much better than them, but mentally they haven't prepared right.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to. And that's what the biggest thing for this season has been so far for me is that everyone's beating each other. It's like if someone has a bad or a particularly bad game, then they sort of bounce back that next week.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of that at the moment. So it just seems like the mental game of preparing yourself is as high as it's ever been. Because it's the competition and the class of players are similar.
Yeah, and it's killing everyone in the tips. Actually, everybody I know is complaining about it. I've had a couple of 6 out of 8 rounds.
Because usually round 5-6, you see where teams are going.
Yeah,
but it hasn't been the case.
The only one you can tip against the Rabbitohs and the Titans.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
every time.
Yeah, Souths are in a weird place at the moment, but we'll go into that later. But I think, you look at the competition, you look at the Sharks. The Sharks really haven't played anyone yet. So, and that's why I was going through the ladder to see, the teams are up the top, but they haven't played the top echelon, the so-called top echelon of teams in the competition yet. So, certainly, it's made it very interesting anyway.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about, I think it's been a couple of months since you've been here with us. I was going to ask you about some quotes from Cooper Cronk regarding last year's grand final. Now, interestingly, he said that he felt like the Panthers wouldn't have won the game if Jerome Luai had stayed on the field because he felt like Jack Cogger being on the field opened up more space for Nathan Cleary to do his thing.
Yep.
I was just wondering if you had a view on that, whether you agree or disagree with Cooper on that one.
I don't disagree with him because you've seen what Cogger did in that game, and he played an integral role. And sometimes that's the way the game goes. Sometimes it's just it doesn't set up for a certain player at certain times. So. But at the end of the day, that game's gone. It's got nothing to do with going forward because, every game's different. It plays out differently or, there's certain situations that people do differently. So, it was a good point that Cooper made. Obviously he's very, he's done it all in the game. And he can really break down he can break down the game really well so people can understand what he's actually, describing. So... that grand final, that just swayed in so many ways where, you thought that, with the Broncos, the way that they got out. But I think they must have put it in cruise mode after when they were out by 18. You know, like it's just hard to. And that's just young kids in there, and I think that maybe that they just got ahead of themselves too quickly, and then all of a sudden there was a change in momentum, and then when Nate's gone through and obviously scored that try, and then the next part where he kicked that 40-20, and then it was like, oh shit, it's like they're on the run, and then you got to wrestle that momentum back, and they just couldn't do it.
Yeah, because it was two really like, I think the Hodega Grand Final was about two different players, right? Ezra Mam scored 3 in a row, and Nathan Cleary set up a win. Yeah. Like, so you can say Jerome Luai, like, I kind of can't disagree, but I can't agree with Cooper Cronk because obviously you don't know. Like maybe Nathan Cleary would have just clicked anyway. But yeah, like I can see. At the
end of the day, it's a 13-man game, so you need everyone to play a role.
Yeah.
And if they don't play that role, it doesn't give Nathan the opportunity to do what he can do.
Exactly.
So, like it's always someone's different view on how it pans out, I suppose.
Yeah, it was an interesting theory from Cronk. I'm just moving away from your Panthers for a second. I just wanted to get your thoughts on this Ricky Stuart versus Des Hasler feud that's sort of blown up this week after that Titans-Raiders game on Sunday night. Quite explosive, the pair having a confrontation. You played against both men. Do you have a sort of a view on it either way?
Oh, it's a bit of gamesmanship. Like, you watch that game and certainly there's question marks about, he was offside.
Yeah, they admitted it.
He was blatantly offside. And also the wrestling of, like, holding the ball, which was every team's doing it. So, for Des, Des under the pump. So certainly and the Titans played well, They really did. So they pushed them, but, Sticky's a fiery prick anyway, Like, I had a couple of run-ins. I'm not a couple of run-ins with Sticky, but we were playing the Roosters one time down at the stadium, and I did something, and I was running back on the sideline. He was on the sideline, and he was spraying me, so I was like spraying him back. Like, you can see you get understand the language that was getting thrown at each other, but and I was just thinking, what's he doing? Like, he's a coach, and he's like, But that's how he is. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and I played State of Origin under Sticky, and he's an intense man, but certainly knows his stuff, and he's a great coach as well.
But I think for him to say that the Titans were cheating, I mean, that to me that just seemed like a bit much. I mean, it's gamesmanship, isn't it? To say that it's cheating seemed like a bit of a bridge too far to me.
It was just all bullshit, really. Like, at the end of the day, he's just protecting. They're both trying to protect their own players and the result itself. So. It's rugby league, isn't it? Was it another talking point for everyone to talk about?
Was it the Titans' best game, or were the Raiders actually that bad? Because the Titans have been pretty shocking. That was their smallest loss. They only lost by 1 point.
Well,
that's the thing about
you got to take the positives out of the game, Johnny.
Well, they won. That's what I was thinking. Was Ricky Stuart trying to detract from the fact that he only won by 1 point? Because it's pretty bad to only win by 1 point against the Titans at the moment.
You'd take any win at this stage, wouldn't you?
Well, at this point, it doesn't matter how they come. Yeah. Especially if you're the Raiders, where they've had a great start to the season, and you want to win all your home games. So, and they got the job. At the end of the day, they got the job done. But to your point, was it one of the better games? Of course not. But
I couldn't watch it.
But it was just like, well, where are the Titans at then? Really, like, they got rid of Holbrook. And they brought in Des, and they've been worse off.
Yeah, that was. We were talking.
Where's
about
the KPIs to that?
Yeah, it's hard because it's his first season, and I always have like the first season and stuff. Like, how does he rebuild? What can he do? Did he come in too late? They have their leeway period. I always say it's like marketing. When you hire a new marketing manager, first thing they'll do is they'll say, got to build you a new website, and that gives them 3 months of leeway before you can criticise them.
Well, where did you sort of have them land before a ball was kicked this season? Where did you sort of think the Titans were going to land?
I didn't. I thought they were going to be at the bottom right. two or three anyway.
Right. Okay.
But you want to see a bit, and losing Tino is like a massive loss for him, but it just doesn't seem like there's much coming through.
Yeah,
and that's where if I was Des, I'd be blooding young guys then.
Yeah.
If you can't see these older guys producing for you, what are they doing there? Surely their cap can't be that much out or that bad.
Well, that's what we look at the team. When you look through the team, they have Tino and they have David Feeder and they have Kieran Foran at the back end of his career.
You got Brimson there.
It's not. Yeah, like you say, surely their cap can't be that bad because it's not full of guys that would command a lot of money. But is it hard to attract people to the Gold Coast so they're paying overs? I've never really understood the whole Titans issue because they've never, since their inaugural team, they haven't been good.
Yeah, well, I think Cardi did a good job there, and then it sort of fell away from him.
Yeah, it was all the off-field stuff with the Centre of Excellence and money laundering or whatever it was.
There's always something going on.
Yeah, because when they first started, they had Luke Bailey, they had Scotty Prince, they had Matt Rogers, Preston Campbell, and they went really well. I think they might have got to the top 4 in their first couple of years.
Yeah, well,
and then since then, nothing.
But you would think being in that area, surely the junior base of Brisbane itself and, Sunshine Coast and around, surely they could be able to pick players up or young people, identify young people, and even through the junior league of through the Gold Coast. So have they got that right? And you've seen that how effectively, if you get that right, that the junior system to breed them and come through, as Penrith have done, as Gus was doing with Canterbury and so forth, they're bringing some young guys through. That helps you with your cap because you're not paying overs to get them there.
Yeah,
and that's where you get your relief. So,
do you think if Des maybe had a quiet moment to himself, he might be thinking, "What have I got myself into here with this gig?" Or
not particularly. Des is a coach, so he's gone there thinking that he can turn them around. Now, maybe the job's a bit bigger than what he thought. So you can't scrap him out, but you just feel sorry for Justin because of what happened to him.
Yeah.
So.
Who was the coach? There was the coach before as well was the same. I always feel sorry for them because no matter who they bring in since that inaugural team and Cartwright, it's no one's been able to do anything.
Well, you had Brennan there before that.
Yeah.
And the thing about that is that you're looking at even the same. You look at South now, and you're looking at Jason Demetriou. You look at those players in that team, and they aren't performing as well as they can. Now, is it always the coach's fault? Surely there's got to be some self-reflection of your own performance. I've had to do it. We had some really poor seasons, and you got to sit back and you look at yourself in the mirror and go, "Fuck, I need to be better." And the only way you can do that is by working as hard as you can, and individually you need to work as hard as you can, and then you come together as a group. And then you start to win ugly, it'd be like a shit win, you just scraped by, but you hadn't played well, and then you start to sort of gain momentum. But if everyone doesn't buy into that situation as quick as you can, you're dwindling in that.
You become the Tigers
for the rest of the year, and it's hard to get out.
Yeah, and
it's a lot easier to sack one coach than it is to rebuild a whole playing roster.
Yeah, I understand that, but. Don't sack the coach at the beginning because you still got the same players there. The players are underperforming. It's not the coach that's underperforming. And they blame the coach because he should be able to make them perform better. Well, hold on, are they doing everything right off the field or are they training as hard as they can? You got to really peel it back to see where everyone's individual performance comes from. Different players play for different reasons. Some play for money, some play just because they love playing the game, or whatever it is. It's completely different. So, just trying to peel them back and know their personalities to try and build them as a group.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to do with the coach. I've heard it mentioned before, from the administration side, the board and the CEOs and stuff. They put all the blame on the coach and get rid of the coach, and you notice they never get sacked. The board, the CEO, the people who recruit hire everyone and stuff like that.
Usually the boards are a bunch of fans. That's all they are. They wouldn't know. They think that they know, but they haven't been in the four walls.
Yeah.
And some of them might have played the game, but they've never played at the level that it's supposed to be played at. And how would they know what a good coach is?
Yeah.
They only see it from on the outside.
And that's to say, if Jason Demetriou is a bad coach, right? Just if he is. Like I said last week, like, unfortunately for him, he could be a really good coach, but he's just currently the 17th worst coach in the NRL. And so every year we have someone that gets sacked no matter what.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's going to be him. But yeah, like, if they hired him and he is actually a bad coach, why doesn't the board, the CEO, the people, like, even Wayne Bennett suggested him at the end when he left, why don't they ever cop any of the blame?
Well, that's why they probably didn't get rid of him, because that blame would have went on to them.
Yeah.
Like Blake Solly and that, because they were trying to get rid of him. But then they sort of about-faced and gone, oh, we better keep him.
It's another bizarre situation.
It's really bizarre. But, you look at your leaders there. Like, Cody is not playing anywhere as well as he did last year.
Yep.
Latrell, it's like he loses his shit out there and he can't control himself. Like trying to elbow
Sean
Johnson.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, that was horrendous.
Yeah.
That was horrendous.
And you put that on top of everything else he's done this year. Dropping those F-bombs in that interview after the game, that radio interview, taking Tedesco out off the ball, getting sin bin, going in on Addo Carr with that cover tackle, going in at his head, commenting on the judiciary hearing when he wasn't supposed to under the rules.
Yeah.
We could go on and on about Latrell Mitchell's 2024, and it's only 6 rounds in at the moment.
But it's really funny because, Latrell does some really, really good things away from footy, with Indigenous boys and all the rest of it. And I don't know if that sort of stuff has sort of gave him a bit of leeway because he's doing such good work elsewhere. And the league have just let him sort of run his own race. Yeah, because that's how it sort of comes across. Yeah. You know what I mean?
He wins the that community award at the Dally M's. I can never remember what they're called, but that community work award.
Like the Ken Stephen medal.
I think 3 times he's won it or something, and he wins the Rabbitohs one every year as well.
Yeah.
So he does do, you always got to acknowledge it. He does do a lot of stuff away from the game.
Yeah. But the biggest thing about him is that they need him to perform, and if that noise about doing all that other stuff, because then first and foremost, he's a professional rugby league player, and he's got all the ability in the world. If he could be the best player in the game, if he just wants to be, and he wants to control himself, he wants to get himself actually fit enough to be able to play fullback, because I was looking at the stats of what other fullbacks do. They're running 21, 23, 24 times a game. Yeah. He's nowhere near, and he's always throwing the ball to the winger when the ball's coming back.
That's it. In that Warriors game, we touched on it. He ran 84 metres or something, 5 runs for 84 metres, and then the 2 wingers and the 2 centres ran more than him. And I think Jack Whiten did like 220 metres or something in it. Like,
and that's, but the thing is, it's not that we're all putting shit on Latrell all the time. It's just that because he's that good, and he can have such he can change the game at any particular time. That's why he gets, criticised as much as he does, is because he's that good, and everyone knows he's that good. But sometimes he just doesn't seem to want to be that good, in a way, like he just wants to be sort of mediocre. Like it's a really, it's a really strange one.
Well, you were a premiership winning captain back in 2003. If you were Latrell's captain at the moment, what would you be saying to him?
I'll be just trying to tell him to keep working hard, and also just, understand that you're such a big voice in the game, and we all look up to you as a player, so be that player that we want you to be. That's the teammate we want you for. And to go out there and give it all, like at training, and then whatever happens away from it, we know that you've been in the trenches with us.
Do you think it seems to be having an impact on his teammates? I mean, they seem to put in more effort with him not in the team against Cronulla on the weekend than they were putting in with him in the team in previous weeks.
Oh, yeah, that's a hard one, because they were under the gun big time, and they wanted to see a response, and they did see a response, but it just wasn't good enough.
A lot of people are talking about that. What's the young kid that filled in?
Jai Gray.
Yeah. So he filled in and brought in.
Well, he brought energy, didn't he?
Yeah, that was it.
You could see the way he brought the ball back and all the rest of it. Now, if I'm Latrell, I'll be going, yeah, I'll show you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd take offence to that. Not against the young kid because he's just having a crack. I'd be just going, yeah, I'll show you and I'll show everyone else. And I'd put the chip on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Put the chip on the shoulder, and make it again. Me versus the rest is. Some people need that.
Yeah.
Someone need to be the villain sort of thing just to get the best out of them.
It's really like everything about this year I find strange because even in that when he scored his 100th try, they Rabbitohs were down, they were getting beat and everything, and then he just went.
They got thrashed.
Yeah, I can't believe he said that. Like that's the last thing that comes into your mind. That
was like a piece of individual brilliance doing exactly what you said. He can do it. He can do it.
Which actually means nothing. You know, sure, 100 tries. Who cares?
Yeah.
Did you win the game? No. Like that's what you get, Clark. That's how you get judged. Did you win the game? Well, no. Well,
a lot of people score 100 tries.
You know, that's like when you play 100 games or 200 games. You go there and you lose the game.
Yeah, something to remember forever.
Yeah, unreal. Awesome.
The day I scored 100 tries. Yeah, it was. That's what I was at the time. I mentioned to Dan. I was reminded when Andrew Johns broke the record for all-time highest point scoring or whatever, and he only needed 2 points to do it. It was against Parramatta, and they got thrashed like 24-2. And he refused to come out and collect his thing because
that's Joey.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like he's so invested in the game and winning.
Yeah,
he didn't give a crap about breaking the record.
He would have been livid after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas Latrell was on the radio, swearing on the radio, going, look at that, I've scored 100 tries. But he did it so amazingly. Like, that was the thing. He just clicked and went, I've got to get my 100th try, and did it. Just did it. He tore the line apart, and he ran through and he scored the try. And I was like, why wasn't he doing that the rest of the game?
Yeah. You sometimes you just can't tear him apart like that, but you can see the effort in someone.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's what I mean. Like, he put so much effort in that, and then the rest of the game he was nowhere to be seen. And I just always go back to when he carved up Origin, and I wish I could see that again because I want him to carve up Origin. For me, I don't care if the Rabbitohs win or lose.
Yeah, but you need him to carve up at NRL level to be able to give yourself the confidence to go and do that. You can't play like the way he's been playing and then expect to go into the Origin arena and play.
Exactly.
Just think you're going to turn it on. You know, he might be able to turn it on. Who knows? But at the end of the day, I don't think Madge will pick him.
No, well,
simple as that. Because the way Madge is, you can see the way Madge is working to build that team. It's by performance.
Yeah,
it's effort.
Where would you pick him now? He's not anywhere near the top 5 New South Wales fullbacks, and he couldn't fill in the top 5 New South Wales centres.
Yeah, but that can change in a couple of games.
Yeah,
if he come out and went bang bang, and he's put in these wonderful performances.
He's only got 2 more games to prove it. Yeah, he's got 2 more.
There's still 7 weeks until game 1, so there's time there.
And he's out for this. Well, it's a bye this week. Then he's got 2 more. 2 more games for his suspension.
Yeah.
And then he's got 3 more games until the teams are picked. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Would you have him back in the centres and have Gray at fullback when he comes back at South?
I would, because I love the energy that he brought, Gray, and then the fact is that I put Cody to half, Crichton to 5'8", and Latrell to centre. Because in poor performances from South, I think Jack's been really good. You can see the effort that he's putting in, and that's the thing. When you're losing, people can see blokes that are actually having a crack.
Yeah.
And you can see that Jack's not one of those players to sit back. He's and it's hard being in the centres. You're part of the back 5, so you're doing yardage carries. You got to wait for the ball to get you. You're getting shit ball. It's not really coming off the front foot. Souths are playing off the back foot. They're trying to play their second man plays, but because they're playing off the back foot, they're just defence is just sliding on them. So, I think he's been tremendous. I'd love for him just to get to Madge and say, I want to play.
Yeah.
Like, you want to play on the big stage. I understand when he was down in Canberra, he didn't want to play, or for whatever reason, but. I think it'd be good for him, good for his football as well.
Yeah, Whiten's been one of their better players in a struggling side this year. That's for sure.
And also we're struggling for a 5'8" at the moment, aren't we? Really, in the Origin.
Yes.
Really.
Well, everyone's out injured as well. Mitch Moses was there. He's gone. He won't be back in time, I don't think.
And Drame Luai, he's been okay without being great.
Yeah,
You know, it's not like his performance has been out of this world where it's going, yeah, pick me. So
if I sorry to put you on the spot a little bit, but if you had to name the 5'8" right now, who would you go for the Blues? We do still have 7 weeks until game 1.
I'd pick Jack.
Jack what?
Yep.
Yeah, he can play 5'8", he can play fullback, he can play centre. He's good enough.
Yeah, he's a big body, defensively, I think, I'd pick Jack if
I'm just trying to go through everyone in my head who is there, and there is not very many.
Who's there?
Who's going to play with Nate? It's obviously going to be Cleary.
It's either Cleary and Law.
What about the fullback? What do you think there? Edwards or Tedesco? Or?
Well, if you look at performances, and if that's what Madge is going off, Dylan outplayed Tedesco.
Yeah,
so
a lot.
He outplayed him. So
not even close.
So for me, you got to pick him. And you look at the effort areas. I know Tedesco, the same sort of thing. You get the effort areas out of him, and he's played a lot better than what he did last year. You know, is it going to be the fact that he's just going to be loyal to him? And because he's still playing good football, it's not like he's playing poor football. But if you're talking about out-and-out performances, I'm going with Dylan. Because, he's been first class.
Yeah, I got some numbers here. Round 1, 195 metres. Round 2, 262 metres. Round 3, 309 metres. Round 4, 246 metres. Round 5, 270 metres. These are just huge numbers from Dylan Edwards to start the season.
But you know what? He always puts up numbers like that. But what I loved the other day when Nathan wasn't there was that little grubbering behind.
You don't expect it from him.
Because he's not known for that sort of that classy little play. And that's probably why he hasn't been picked before, was because he's an out-and-out effort player where he'll be, he supports her, through the roof. His meters are through the roof. He doesn't miss his tackles, but he just hasn't got that, Latrell factor.
He doesn't make the highlight reels. That's the thing. He doesn't create highlight reels. But you got to have those players. I remember
he's like Gutho, but he's better than a Gutho.
Yeah, Gus Gould said a few ages ago. He said, "Give me 17 Ben Hornbys and I'll win you 20 competitions." Because he was talking about how Ben Hornby's is the same, like effort, consistency, always the same player, never highlights.
That's what he's done with the recruitment at the Dogs. He's bought a whole bunch of utility players. It's that similar sort of Ben 17, Ben Hornby's.
They're not Ben Hornby's. Ben Hornby's
I don't think it's worked that well. It's been okay because they're solid players, but you haven't got the class that they need. Drew's been okay, but he's missing the boat on a few things. And, I wonder how long they're going to actually last with Drew, because you got Toby Sexton playing right in the cup, and he's an out-and-out half. I know that they're saying that Drew's an out-and-out half, but I disagree with that.
You just said before he's missing the boat on a few things. What things do you think what do you think he could improve on a bit, Hutchison?
I think it's just his selections of passing, and that's just reading the game, being able to understand when to throw the pass, when not to throw the pass, what pass do you throw. But at the end of the day, Cam's giving him plenty of opportunities to get better, which I find is very good to see, because most times you have a couple of bad games or they're a bit shifty, they might hook him and go for someone else.
Yeah,
so he's been he's been really good like that. He's just kept him giving the opportunities to get better, and hopefully he does get better for him as well, because he does some good things as well as, but there's just been times that they've been let down by him as well.
If it was up to you, would you have Sexton ahead of him? Or is there someone else you'd pick at halfback in their roster?
Well, I don't think they've got.
Okay.
Yeah.
They don't have anybody.
No. I would have picked Sexton because they picked him last year. Yeah. So obviously they seen something in him last year, and they had a full pre-season to work on what he needed to work on. Now, has he not hit those targets? That's where I don't know. And that's why they've gone with Drew, So
I remember hearing that Hutchison's a really good I don't know how much this has to do with it. Obviously, you know a lot more than me, but they were saying that Hutchison's a really good talker out there, and Sexton lacks the talk a little bit, and apparently Burton lacks the talk, so they wanted to get Hutchison in there because he's a talker. But
you just had you had an off season to get that right.
Yeah.
Like, true. And this is what you say to the kid. You say, Tobe, you got a great kicking game. Your passing game, you got good selection of passing, but your talking is just not up to standard, NRL standard. Now this is how we're going to improve you, and you need to hit your targets.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't do it, well, that's where you go from. Mate, you're not in the team because of this. Now, are you going to get on board with it? Like, and that's probably one of the most crucial things that, you know, like I try and teach younger people is your communication, because when you can communicate really well with your inside-outside defenders, you know, especially, and then in attack, the understanding of what you're actually doing, it makes your job so much easier. Especially when you start playing, when you're in first grade, if you hear that talk and that want to get off the line, or you know you want to be in the right position because Gowie, I'm outside three. You understand, you can pick it up a lot easier, and because everyone's on board with you, and you just know where they're going to be. I'm on the inside. I've got you inside. You know, we're going to attack this bloke. You know, you come with me. It's just small words. You don't have to be yelling and screaming, but it's just like, so you're always combined, and you know what people are doing. Like I think it's a major part of the game that sort of sometimes it gets overlooked, because you do have great communicators and you don't. You have poor ones, but you know when we're doing fitness and stuff like that, that's when you've got to talk, because when you're under the gun and your ass is hanging out, you need someone to talk to you, because that's when you feel a bit safe, especially if you defend your own line. You defended 3 sets, and you know you need to defend another one. You know you need to run. You know you need that communication so people are comfortable.
Yeah, that was one of the things that they talked about, like with Billy Slater. It was all the communication on the defence.
That's right. He just wouldn't talk. He wouldn't stop talking.
Yeah.
So he's going, fill that gap, and calling your name. Well, that bloke's just is he just going to ignore him?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then he'd spray you.
Yeah.
He'd be spraying you.
Yeah.
So, so I think it's a crucial part, you know, the communication.
So until the Dogs sign a quality 7, it's hard to see them really getting into that top 8, isn't it?
I've seen some great improvement in what they're doing. Defensively, they've been way better.
Connor Tracy was a real find at fullback last week against Melbourne.
No, he was good. Yeah. He was good. But you know, kick-out's been great.
Yeah, outstanding.
I think the way he progressed when he was at Penrith, because he was lazy, but now he just hasn't got that in him. He's like, I think Cam's just got that straight out of him, and his effort areas and the amount of double up effort areas that he does, it's you know. He's been in tremendous form.
Yeah,
you know?
and those the Bulldogs were missing him so much last year because he
was injured and stuff. Yeah.
Had to come back, and he went. By the time he got back, because it was a long injury, he came back and they were already gone.
Yeah, and
so
I think the Dogs they're just missing one front rower. I think, you know.
Yeah, Kickout had 3 line break assists against the Storm, and he's getting those late offloads away as well. So
and that's crucial. The late offloads I find are, you know, it's so hard to defend against, because teams are always just waiting for the set plays. So if you can get that second phase play, it breaks it up, and that's when you see a little bit of creativity. And I like seeing that, because that's when you see blokes play off the cuff instead of going, we need to get to the 40 just to go to the block shape for a block shape, and I'm bored out of my brain.
Yeah,
you know, like it's actually, that's my gripe anyway.
Yeah,
I know.
Good to chat about.
I think everybody agrees with you. Actually,
good to chat about the Doggies. I thought we'd just go into John's Dragons as well. Get your thoughts on how they're travelling at the moment. 3 wins, 3 losses after 6 games. I think they can be pretty happy with where they're at.
No. Like Flano wouldn't be happy, but you can see what he's building there, and at least they're buying in at the Dragons. But it's the same little thing. Win 1, lose 1, win 1, lose 1, or the other way around.
Yeah, they can't win 2 in a row.
They can't win 2 in a row.
So frustrating.
And you just think of what's the mental blockage there for them. Why can't they get up ready to play? You know, when they got pumped by the Dolphins, like that was like horrendous.
Yeah, it was. It was hard to watch.
And you're just thinking, like, how can you be so far off from your performance of the week before?
Yeah, and like as a Dragons fan, when we watch it, like past few years, you've been watching, especially last year when we would watch them, we'd see like we have this. I always have this thing where there's like every single Dragons player was like individually brilliant, but they could never play as a team. As soon as they had to pass the ball or tackle together, defend the line together, that's where they'd collapse. This year, it looks like they're doing that, and it just looks like the fans like that. The other Dragons fans I know, like they don't know how to do it, but at least they're trying.
Yeah, Well, anytime you got Ben Hunt in there, like steering you around, and Kyle's been okay for years, and you know, obviously Zach Lomax has been. Is it because that he wanted a new contract elsewhere? Is that why? But
we'll see this week because he's signed now.
Gone to the Eels.
Yeah, but he's still at the Dragons till the rest of the year. So we'll see this week.
It's going to be interesting to see. But like he's been playing really good football on the wing, and you know, for some reason he thinks it's a bit of a demotion playing out there. But he's probably seen more ball than he does in the centres.
He's currently the best player in the Dragons. You know, like that's the thing on the wing. When he was in centre for however many years he's been playing, he's been one of the best players at the Dragons.
Yep.
You know, one of the only guys that like put in every week and tried. But again, like individually, he would do it. And this year, he's on another level.
And Silver's a great player for him. Like he's you know, he's an outstanding back rower. So
maybe he's always been a winger.
Yeah. But not in his head. So you can't.
That's the thing. Like, but I don't know, like, because they always have the thing, like the wingers get promoted to the centre or move to fullback. Centres get demoted to wing and fullback get demoted to wing.
What are the young bloke that got in trouble? What's the young Highlander fella?
Amon.
Yeah, is he gone? Is he
the one with the hemorrhage?
Yeah,
yeah, he's gone. He's deregistered by the NRL. He's got 2 years suspended sentence or something, so he can't come back for 2 years.
Oh, so he can't come back for 2 years?
Yeah, because technically he's like convicted, but he's it was a weird thingy. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but it's like he's in jail but in the community like type thing. It was bizarre.
Like a house arrest?
No, it wasn't even a house arrest. Remember I pointed out to you at the time.
Just
some
like
weird
a
thing that I
sentence there, but
so because he was meant to play. That was the whole thing with the Dragons, right? He was meant to play halves, and they let go of whoever it was to go to
Sullivan.
Yeah, they let go of Sullivan because they had a moan, and then they lost a moan, and they had no one.
That was probably a good thing.
Yeah. Well, if you have a moan, it was good, but then they lost a moan and they had no one. But then they got Flanagan, who's been doing well.
Yeah.
And then like I think one of the worst things was Sloane's game. When was it? Against the Knights. Sloane's against the Knights, where they actually did like. Flano actually hooked him to the wing. That's what I meant. They demoted him to the wing and promoted Zach Lomax middle of the game to fullback to see if they could come back and win. And like that's the kind of thing that probably makes Zach Lomax think like the wing is bad. There's a demotion. Yeah, like they've just hooked the fullback to the wing.
But if you watch most games, you see how important they are by the way that they score tries, the way they catch balls. You know, like.
Xavier Coates has won 2 games for Melbourne.
Yeah, that's right.
This year.
Yeah.
That's a winger.
Sometimes it doesn't reflect in your pay packet. But
yeah. You got to get the promotion to the centre so you can get more money, and then move from centre to 5/8 or fullback to get more money. Yeah.
Just changing tack a little bit now. We've got a segment called Honestly, Guys. It's just our opinion. We're going to go into that. So off the back of 2 Golden Point games in the last round, the Warriors, Sea Eagles, and the Raiders Titans games, there's been calls for Golden Point extra time to be scrapped. So we're just going to sort of open that up for a bit of a debate right now.
I think that's bullshit. Like, you know, for all of a sudden, because what they do is that no one wants to make an error, and if you get to a 50 out, you're not going to have a shot, so you bomb it to the corner, and then you've got to try and defend it. That's the game plan. Or put yourself in a position to have a shot. That's how Gold Point's always been.
Yeah.
Like, you're never out there throwing the ball around to try and score a try.
Yeah, there's a rare try.
Yeah, because I've seen... who was complaining about it the other day, Journo? Rothfield, Phil.
Yeah.
And I was just going, well, that's been going on for years. It's not like all of a sudden that's that's changed from what previously happened. Everyone's just trying to have a shot, or because that they don't have the shot now and it goes dead, they're trying to negate that, because if they have a 7 tackle set, then they're going down, and you have a fair crack at having a go. So that's why they don't try and do a loose shot, because if they do, that gives them an opportunity. So
it's it was 2010 it was when the Dragons and the Tigers played prelim, and Jamie Soward kicked like a 40-metre field goal to get that 1 point, and then the Tigers went and played that golden point, that 100-minute game against the Roosters the next week. And that was a try. But that was because they'd had about 300 shots in goal. And then I think it was Lottie Takiri through the intercept. And then the Roosters scored the try. But I was at that game. It was so intense. Like the whole, you could feel, I didn't care because I'm a Dragons fan. But it was so intense. It was so, like, nobody cared about the field goals. Like the fact that it was a field goal shootout.
Yeah. Well, see, people want to see a result. And that's why it come in the first place. So if Phil wanted it his way, so he just wants to draw anyway.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Like the main thing about that game then, because it was a semi-final, after the golden point, it just goes forever, because you have to have a winner. You can't have a draw in a semi-final. So the game went for 100 minutes. It was the longest, 104 minutes or whatever. As a fan, I would prefer that, but I know you can't have teams playing 100 minutes in a regular season game.
Yeah, but you need the result. So, and that's the thing. If it's in the season, well, it's a draw. Like, they've played it out. No one's actually won at the end of it. It is what it is. So he gave them the opportunity to win the game, but no one was good enough. So you just take the draw. Like I think that's a fine way to play.
Actually, one of the other things about was when there was City Country, they didn't use the golden point rule, and like twice there was a draw, and everyone hated it. They actually hated it. Like, everyone complained and went, they should have used golden point.
Yeah.
The problem with this golden try that they're floating is that teams will just be happy to give penalties away, knowing the other team can't take the 2 for the penalty goal to win the game.
Yeah, but also the fact is that it's just going to be as boring, because you're not going to want to make a mistake, and it's going to be the same. You're going to kick it to the corner and just try and defend it and try and wait for a mistake. So, it's always when something negative happens where it's not good viewing, they try and change it. And I just think, well, it's the actual game. Sometimes it's not the spectacle that you want it to be, but it's just like boxing. When a couple of boxers fight and you go, well, oh, that was shit, and then you see 2 blokes that just want to kill each other, you go, how good's that?
There was only one draw last year, and this is the one draw. It's funny, both years Manly. Actually, Manly was a draw last year, and Manly's now a draw this year. So I think if there was a lot more draws, it would warrant something where they should actually look at what can we do.
But those conditions over there were difficult too.
Yeah.
Because it started to rain a fair bit, didn't it? I didn't see all the game, and so that's got to be a factor into it. Like I just hate when they just jump to a conclusion straight away when really there's no issue.
I guess when you get a situation like that Manly Warriors game where you're playing out the 10 minutes and still not getting that result, that's probably leaving some people going, oh, well, what was the point of that? But anyway.
Well, they got 10 more minutes of entertainment.
Yeah.
Like,
I think a lot of people had a problem with that one as well because of the penalty that was awarded to send it into Golden Point.
I think, the problem about Golden Point, from my point, is that the referees don't want to blow a penalty. That's my gripe. It's that they're worried about blowing a penalty, which is, that's where they should be going. Listen, we're going to Golden Point. Make sure you're clean because I'm going to blow a penalty.
Yeah, and
warn them both.
Yeah,
and go, if you jump early, you're going to go. So it's going to be a penalty, and I think that's because I don't. There's been a few that have blown penalties, but not many.
Yeah, I can
not
probably
many.
like 2 or 3 times remember since Golden Point came in that was
there's not many. So I think that's the problem because that's when the cheating is going on because they know that they can jump early, they can hold on longer, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's like I know people get really frustrated when it just becomes like this loose shootout for no matter who has the ball and it's the 5th tackle, we're inside the 40, just kick it. Like even if the front rowers got it. We'll go for a field goal. People get frustrated with it. But yeah, like, it only happens once a year. And to me, that's the same as like when the AFL Grand Final has to reset. And they say, don't worry, we're going to do something about it. It only happens once every 50 years. They don't do anything about it. They just say, don't worry, we're going to do something about it.
Yeah, just play on.
Yeah.
Play on.
But yeah, I think like with Manly, last year, 6 weeks out from the end of the season, Manly were 1 point behind a bunch of teams that were fighting for the 8. And if they had got that result in their goal, it would have been amazing.
So there's plenty of other games that they could have got the result too. Don't worry about that one.
Would your coaches ever tell you to be offside on purpose, in particularly in Golden Point in a high?
No.
They'd never tell you to do that?
No. You just jump offside yourself.
You just know.
No one teaches you to try and break the law, but you know where you can sort of get away, what you can get away with, what you can't. And that's just down to you're playing the ref as much as the ref is playing you.
Did you have different behaviours with different refs?
Some you could talk to, like, to have a good convo with out there and that. Like some people, and then you could spray some and you'd get away with it, and some you just couldn't spray as well.
One of the fond memories I have of you playing was actually you said to one of the refs, I can never remember who the ref was, but I'm pretty sure it was in a Roosters game, and they got awarded, the Panthers got awarded something that was a 50-50 call, and then the Roosters got one back, and you said to the refs, there's no square-ups in the NRL. It just cracked me up so bad.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, that was, honestly, guys, it's just our opinion. Is there one thing so far, Craig, about the season that you're liking in particular? And also, is there one thing that you're disliking at the moment about the footy?
The one thing I'm liking is actually the competition, which you don't know who's going to win. I think that's more down to, it's not really been the skill that's sort of letting people down. It's more their mental capacity of getting themselves prepared to play. And that's been across the board, like with teams. Even Panthers, in a way, against Manly, when they played against Manly. Because that was a big game for Manly, and Manly were up for that because of Cherry Evans. And it was like Penrith played like their game the week before without Nathan. Like the way that they prepared, it must have been the way they prepared. They were just like they were ready to go, but against Manly it wasn't the same. And I think that could be that mental capacity, to get yourself prepared, as well as you can. And sometimes you just, for some reason, you don't. So I think every team being able and how close it is, and looking at the table thinking, who would have picked that? I think that's been a really good thing. It's it's exciting for all different fans, which has been great. I think the worst part for me is it's all the ball holding, especially in like their 20 and that stuff, and they let it get it. And I don't know how to change it, because they tried to change it before by blowing penalties all the time and sending people.
And then 1 year that they did it all
and then
the
they're
time.
all blowing up.
Yeah.
But it's just crap, like, really. And I understand why they do it, because obviously they're trying to get their defensive lines in order and all the rest of it. But you watch in that 20-metre gap, or even the 10-metre, they just hold on for that long, and they've got their arms stuck in there. I remember when you weren't allowed to do that. You weren't allowed to after you get up and hold the ball, you weren't allowed to touch the ball. But it just seems like they just get away with that now. It's just part of the game. I've just got a real sort of gripe against that, because it just there's no flow. Then you get the 6 agains, and like the attack around that 10-metre is just so difficult for a team to score a try for that close, because they're holding on. The defensive lines are set usually, and
so when they changed the 10-metre dropout rule, it was like I think Willie Mason said a stat on his podcast about it, and then we were talking about it, like teams don't score in the 10-metre.
No,
they score from 20 to 40.
Yeah,
vast majority of tries come from 20 to 40 out, and so when it gets inside the 10, it just becomes stupid.
Yeah, it's just a really difficult place to score from, because you're so close, and then it's like it's rugby union, because they're so close to you, and they're India. They're India.
Yeah.
So you got to make quick decisions. You probably see that most of them is from kicks, or they're getting scored out wide, where they're jamming in that fast, and someone has announced to throw a cutout over the top, and that's the way that they're scoring. Because you you don't really see him sort of punching through them anymore. Like, there's been a couple where obviously if it comes off a quick play of the ball or something like that, that's when you see it. But not if someone's wrestling around and holding the ball. Very rarely there's any tries around that ruck after that.
And I guess the issue with the 6 again rule as well is that if teams slow down the ruck on the first or second tackle, well, the 6 again rule has no real impact. You give 6 again on tackle 1 or 2.
Doesn't matter. It's just giving
no big deal.
It's just giving them more time to recover.
Yeah,
that's why they do it.
And that's the problem with the 6 again rule, isn't it?
And you see them, they just hold. And I understand what Sticky was saying the other day, because that was some of what they were holding on for that long, and you're just going what. But there's no repercussions of doing that. And I understand when they had the crackdown, but like, how else do you get it out?
Yeah, well, that's because when they had the crackdown, it was there was that year where I think it was when Todd Greenberg was in charge, and they were just blowing penalties constantly, and the games were taking too long, and it was really boring for everyone. But the understanding from everyone outside the game was if they keep doing it, the players will stop doing it. If they keep blowing the penalties, players will stop, and it didn't. It didn't happen. All that happened was they were like, we're not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
We're just not going to blow the penalties anymore.
So just kept sending it to the bin, keep sending it to the bin. It'd be like 6 on 6.
Yeah, well, that's because I remember Gus blowing up about it at the time and saying, like, it's because there's actually a penalty in every tackle. If you went really, really by the letter of the law, there's actually, like, you could find, if you went looking for it, you could find, like, a penalty in every tackle. And that's why he was blowing up about it at the time, because they were giving away these penalties that every week would normally be let go. But do you think there is any way to stop this? Like sending players to the sin bin?
Yeah, no, it's a real difficult one. Like, and it's, the coaches always are coaching just to, to get around sort of things. But, and I just come back to it's just how difficult it is to score a try within that 5-10 metres. Like, it's I don't know how to fix that. Like, it's a difficult one.
It's super frustrating to watch.
Just got to use the
No, it's as someone to watch the game, it's not cool.
Yeah.
Like, it's just you're thinking, oh, here we go again. Oh, yeah, another set 6, and then he goes just block play. There's no. That's where there's hardly any creativity as such.
Yeah.
It's the only way to score is through that. Trying to make a defender, choose a wrong lead player, or then it goes out the back. But there's no other, or they score from a kick. That's that's the only two ways that they.
Yeah, and so as a fan, you're just hoping that they'll pass the ball really far backwards and create more space, but that's obviously not a good thing to do either.
No, because the defence is that good. They'll be up there, and it's more like a rugby play, isn't it?
Yeah.
But just as you sort of touched on there, is it just up to the referees to just have the courage to use the sin bin more often?
Well, it's hard to say because then it becomes a free-for-all. And then how many times are they going to do it before they send it? Then it all comes down to perception of what referees refereeing to say, oh, well, he should go to the bin, or, he's had a professional foul.
Yeah, and so here's a question for you. Because you're a captain. We see all the time on the TV, right? So the referee, a team will give away a few penalties, and the referee will call the captain over and go back to your boys and tell them stop doing it.
Yeah.
Like, do you actually do anything?
Oh. you yell something out, but then it's like...
But it always seems to change.
No one listens to you.
And so, when I look at it, I think nothing has changed in the way the players are playing. The referees just said, I've given you the warning, and now kind of proven that they've done something, but really the play hasn't changed at all. The referee's just giving you the warning, and that's it.
It depends if he gives you the warning, and the first time he does, he sends someone.
Yeah, and they never do. Like, they really should. Yeah, maybe if they did that more. But yeah, like you say, they send too many people to the bin. It's going to be an issue.
At the moment, I don't think the NRL or are really looking at that anyway. Like that was just my gripe, because I know what it does, how it slows it down so much, and then it's so much harder to attack, and so.
And they know that there's only so many penalties that the referee's going to give for slowing down the ruck as well. Like at some point, well, the referee might give 3 or 4 penalties early in the game, but then they'll put the whistle away because they won't want to end up giving 20 penalties for the game.
And I think that's the hardest things for the referees, because what they're trying to do is keep it an open game, and and that's hard to do as such. You know, because if they're like one team's trying to do something to counteract someone else and make it more difficult to, you know, obviously to get fast play the balls or whatever it is, you know, it's a difficult job for them because you know people want to see an open game, and but an open game means both teams have got to buy into doing the right thing at the ruck.
Do you think the refs actually do try to do that as well? So
I imagine they would.
Yeah.
Like
they want to try and make it entertaining.
Well, I don't think they go out there thinking, "Oh, I'm going to blow 40 penalties today." You know what I mean? I think they're going out there to go like I'll try and keep them. Their jobs are trying to keep them as best they can and give both teams the opportunity to you know defend well and also attack well. So that's the way if I was refereeing, that's what I'd be trying to do. And it's just certain blatantly when blokes are trying to actually cheat the game, that's when you're blowing a penalty.
There's Luke Keary pulled on a referee the other day and as they were running through, he pulled on the referee and then tried to say he got impeded.
That's just shifty shit.
Yeah. But he didn't get called in the game and then he got like a fine.
Oh, did he get a warning, did he?
Yeah, after the game. You can't let him cheat.
That's just gamesmanship there at its best.
You can't let him cheat, as Des would say.
Yeah.
Or Ricky would say.
Just going back to the Bunnies again, do you think they can sort of turn things around from where they are at the moment? How do you see things playing out for them over the next month or so?
I think they can dig their way out of it, but they're going to need all their top liners to step up.
They have so many.
Yeah. Well, Kumatangi's there, you know, like Latrell, Cody, you know, Cookie. Like Cookie's just got the biggest kick in the pants he's ever going to cop by going back to Cup.
Yeah.
Now that's going to give him the, you know, surely as a player of his calibre, he's coming back to, you know, prove a point.
Yeah.
And then you got Cam Murray he's just been working like a dog, and it's like just taking the gas out of him. You know,
I feel most sorry for him. You know, because he's trying so hard and he's trying to...
Well, at the end of the day, he's playing in the middle, right?
Yeah.
So he's making 1,000 tackles because they're not, you know, they're turnover ball, and it's taken away from him, like his quick play the balls that he used to get because he's doing so much defence. Like, I know how fit he is and the rest of it, but there comes a time when you gas because you're making so much defence. But you know, across like Tyler hasn't been at his best. There's guys that just haven't been at their best, and they just need to find, you know, what works for them as players, as individuals first, to get the best performance out of yourself, and then mould that into the team.
Yeah.
And then if you have 17 blokes that are playing the best that they can, that you come together as a team. I don't care who you are. If if everyone else is playing at the capabilities, then the team will come.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre, isn't it? Grand final in 21, prelim final in 22. They're on top of the ladder after 11 rounds in 23.
Yeah.
Then they bomb out, finished 9th last year, and now they're last after 6 rounds this year. It's a very strange fade out that's going on there.
Well, Sam Burgess doesn't say something for nothing. And you don't have a player of his ability, you know, what he went through as a player to know exactly, you know, when things are happening at training, he can see it. And it's, you know, from the outside, well, it seems like a few blokes are running their own race in there, and they're the top dogs, and they didn't get reined in. And young guys see that too, and that can be detrimental to them, or you know, they can just, some of them just don't care and they can just move on.
Yeah.
But when you see other people that are getting a little bit more favouritism, well, it might, you know, leave a sour taste in some people's mouths, and then all of a sudden you've got a bit of disharmony, or you know, they mightn't say anything because they're not at the same stature as those other players, and it's detrimental to themselves.
Yeah, one of the things I've seen pointed out, it's a bit weird, is actually none of the players talking to the media about the issues going on, and even trying to reassure the fans and saying like, no, because normally when your team's
they're just trying to put a positive spin on it, like you know, when you're in that sort of hole, like because you copped so much flack, it's just an add-on.
Yeah.
So they're trying to be, upbeat and, show this belief in what they're doing and the rest of it. And that's fine, but you need to put it on the field.
Yeah.
And then the other stuff goes away. But if you don't do that and you come up with the same stuff, well then they're piling on. They're going again and they're going again. And that's because you're in a professional game. People expect with a side like that, a club like that they should be successful.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre, these reports that they've got this art dealer to make this third-party approach to Mal Meninga, and it's very odd things going on out at Redfern at the moment.
Now that's why they haven't sacked him, because that stuff's coming out. Because that looks bad on Blake Solly and the rest of the guys that are making those decisions. Surely Dick Pappas must have knew about that.
You reckon at the end of the year they'll do a review and end up like the Tigers?
I don't. It depends on how they finish. It's still. They can still go on a run. That's the thing. They've got class in their team that they can still go on a run and have a good season. Are they going to win it? Probably not. But they've got two massive games against Melbourne and Penrith.
Yeah, you don't. That's the thing. So, if they win one of them, what does it say? What
is he still going to be around if he loses the first one?
Yeah, that's the thing. If they win either,
but I suppose it depends on. This is the thing, because they played all right on the weekend and they didn't have the players. Now, when they play against Melbourne, if they come out and they lose by 2 points, it's a loss, right? But surely, if you see things in their game where you go, wow, we actually played really, really well. We just got beat by a better side.
Yeah,
which happens as well. It's you don't like to accept that, but that's how it is. Sometimes if you play against Penrith at their best and you play unreal, you might not win. That's how it works.
But I think everybody just wants to actually they need to show something, and because when we were talking about the Dragons and the Bulldogs, you can see something there, right? You can see something maybe in the next year or two they'll be good, but the Rabbitohs right now, you look at them and you see nothing.
So that's just the strange thing with them, isn't it? On top after 11 rounds last year, so we know they've obviously got the ability there. It's just the wheels have fallen off for some reason.
Well, it's. From what Sam has said, that's there's been some sort of favouritism, and maybe that's bled through. We don't know because we're not in there.
Yeah.
But when you've got someone of Sam's stature saying, and then all of a sudden he's gone, and now he's doing good stuff over in Warrington.
Yeah, they're coming second or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're going well. Yeah.
Yeah.
But surely that's where the question marks.
Yeah.
If they come out and all got on the front foot and Sam stayed and they pulled those blokes in the line, would it be different?
Well, because that's what I was saying before. Jason Demetriou might be a good coach because you don't know, as you just said, you don't know what's going on in there. Is it Jason Demetriou's fault that Latrell Mitchell and Cody Walker get special treatment, or does it come actually from the management? Does it come from the bad?
Well, no. As a coach, it all comes. You're the head, so you decide how you want to run the ship. And if the boys want to get on board or they don't, that's simple. If he's willing to let that happen, well, it falls on him.
Yeah.
And if that's been the case, well, that's why
they're going to let him go.
They're going to let you go.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, just finally, just as we sort of wrap up here, I was just going to quickly go back to Origin and just discuss the enemy for a moment, the Maroons. I was just going to see your thoughts on Kalen Ponga. Do you think he gets a look in, or it's just too hard with Walsh there and Ben Hunt on the bench?
Yeah, it's going to be. He's got a few decisions to make because you got Tino's out, Gilbert's out. Now, Benny Hunt's always done the job for him. So, and Walsh has been fantastic. So, and they won the series last year, so they're going to stick solid. Now, Cullen's a great player. Would you risk, For himself, would you risk trying to play, if they decide to pick him at whatever, if they try and pick him on the bench, he's going to play 9. Do you really want him playing in 9, like with his concussions and that? Like, I wouldn't. If I was Newcastle, I wouldn't.
No.
You know, like if... So there's some big decisions there, but I wouldn't pick Carlin as such. I'd leave Reece there. It just depends if you want to get rid of Hunt and put him at 9. That's going to be the big decision because you're not going to run with 2 of them.
Yeah.
I can't see him running with 2
chance.
of them. That's it. That's going to be Billy's biggest call is that if he goes with Ben Hunt or he goes with Carlin.
Yeah, and last year his biggest call was whether he went with Reece Walsh or Kalen Ponga.
And he went with Reece.
Yeah. And then Kalen Ponga went on that tear.
Yeah. Yeah, but at the end of the day, Reece did the job for him.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's and that'll stick solid. And if Reece is playing good football, he'll be picked.
Well, that's because one of the things about Kalen Ponga last year, I kept saying it, like it's like he's going that well out of spite. You know, he didn't get picked for Origin, so he just went and, would he have gone that well and done that amazing run, carrying 10 wins in a row if he had got picked for Origin? You just don't know, but
he got the Dally M because of it.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, and he's a wonderful player. He's got all the ability. Yeah. Like at Newcastle, it's pretty much on his back if they win or lose.
Yeah. Well, they almost had the Roosters on the back of him, but they got rorted the other day. He did that line break up the field, held down for a long time, didn't get a penalty.
Well, there you go. I picked Newcastle too.
So did I. It's fine. I think a lot of people
filthy look at the stream. And I'm blown. I watch because I've picked someone and I'm thinking, are you serious? Like, I just want to start throwing shit at the TV because you're going, that's like, how do you come up with that decision, you know?
Yeah, everybody I know picked Newcastle.
Didn't really become one-eyed, you know? One-eyed.
And you just hope the Blues really pick on form because if you've lost 3 of the last 4 series, you've really got to go with the form side, like you said. Be good to see Edwards get the nod there at fullback.
Well, that's what his makeup is that he's going to be picking on form. So that's what's going to be interesting to see who he comes up with. And I think it's more about, you know, what's the old heart, mate. See how much heart the boys have got, which guys he goes with, you know, what sort of mindset they have, you know. Some blokes have just got that killer mindset where you want him, but then some blokes don't have it, but they're so skillful as well. But under the gun, you probably go with the bloke that's got more art, especially in that arena anyway. So I think Mads will do a good job. I'm looking forward to see what he comes up with, and you know, coaching Origin is not hard as such, or coming up with game plans. You know, there's things that you sort of tinker with, but you know, it's probably an out and out, just more effort. You know, blokes coming up with big plays when they need to, and you know, they sort of just, you know, when you look at back on the years, that's what's happened. You know, guys, you know, Joey did it in 05. You know, like Munster's done it. Like there's been big players that step up with big moments and they get the job done.
Yeah, I think that might be a wrap for us there, John.
All right, thanks for coming. That was amazing, as always.
Danny, goodbye.
Thanks for coming, Craig.
No worries. Just a bit of quick housekeeping. Don't forget to follow at SmartB app on all the socials and sign up to receive your notifications, daily notifications on whatever news you want. Customise your feed and get tips of the day.
How the boys been going on the punt anyway? Going all right?
The tipsters are, I guess you got to be a professional, man. Like I can't follow it, and that's the thing. Like I wouldn't be following my rugby league tips, to be honest. I'm going terrible this year. But the backer winner for racing, they're going really well. Bryce and Joe are our expert tippers for racing, and they do really well. So if you want to subscribe to someone as well, subscribe to Backer Winner. Sign up to SmartB app and get we're starting from tomorrow, daily best bets email that goes out to anyone who wants it. It gives you a multi to put on all the best bets for all the racing across the...
Beautiful.
Yeah. And yeah, those guys go really well. But it's a full-time job.
No, they race every day, so it's form every day.
Yeah, it's like, I can't follow it. It's too hard for me. I tried. All I did was lost $100, and my wife said, "Why did we deposit money in an elite bet?" And we're all going to go. All right, that's it. Thanks for a lot, and bye, producer John.